The lifetime at the
जाणार आहे त्यांचं स्पीच.
मला टेन्शन देऊ नका.
नाही नाही, अजिबात टेन्शन घ्यायचं नाही, बिलकुल नाही. जरा थोडं पुढं घ्यावं लागते का? थोडस पुढं घ्यावं लागते. आवाज बंद करा. नाही ते सॉफ्ट म्युझिक बंद करा.
Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what are you doing, you will be successful. A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Krantiagrani GD Bapu Lad Mahavidyalaya Kundal and the Department of English and Internal Quality Assurance Cell, I welcome to the all dignitaries for the webinar. The Department of English, in association with Internal Quality Assurance Cell, has organized this national webinar on gender sensitization and contemporary discourse. Let us begin the webinar. Now, I request respected Dr. P.B. Lad Sir, Principal of Krantiagrani GD Bapu Lad Mahavidyalaya Kundal, to give his introductory speech.
Namaskar. Dear participants, first, let me wish you a happy Teachers' Day. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to this well-known college of higher learning, realizing the importance and need of the higher education to the students of rural area. The great freedom fighter and organizer of parallel government in Satara, Krantiagrani Dr. G.D. Bapu Lad established this college in 1998. Our college has been re-accredited at B grade by NAC Bangalore in 2012. Our college is affiliated to Shivaji University, Kolhapur and recognized under 2M and 12B by UGC. Our college has the competent and highly qualified and motivated teaching faculty which is committed to achieve academic excellence. We have a very good library which rich collection of books, journals and periodicals, computer lab with internet facilities, ICT classrooms, gym with indoor and outdoor sports facilities and other adequate infrastructure required for smooth running of college. The college offers degree courses under the Faculty of Arts, Commerce, BCA and BSc. Our college is taking special efforts to make our students competent to face the challenges of the highly competitive global market. It is our endeavor to achieve academic excellence and develop competent students by providing them quality education, soft skills such as spoken English, computer skills, personality development, so on and so forth. Co-curricular and extra co-curricular activities initiated to provide creative talent among the students. Our college has a tradition of excellent university results. Students have achieved a great success in sports at national and international level. College has NSS unit students which endeavor to create social responsibility and commitment in our students. College also have competitive examination guidance center to prepare the students to achieve a success in competitive examination. During the current crisis of corona pandemic, we have been actually engaged with organizing awarenesses program about corona and other social issues through online platform. Present webinar has some concern. So it is a matter of pride and pleasure to welcome you to this renowned college for the national webinar on gender sensitization, contemporary discourse. More than 1,000 participants from Kashmir to Kanyakumari have registered for this webinar. There are also some delegates from other countries like Algeria, Philippines, Nepal, and so. I welcome all of you. I welcome chief guest for inauguration, Mrs. Dhanashri Sharad Lad, President, Krantivirangana Vijayakaku, Vicharmanch Kundal, and founder chairperson of Merki Private Limited. I welcome Dr. Rajashree Barvekar from Department of English, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, and today's resource person, Dr. Baby Pushpa Sinha, Professor and Head, Assam University, Silchar, Assam, and Dr. Sunita Kulkarni, Associate Professor from LJNJ Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Vile-Parle, Mumbai. And I welcome to Dr. Wagmare, Dr. Khaltkar, and all my teaching and non-teaching staff. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of inspiration. Now I request Dr. B.D. Wagmare, sir, Head of Department of English, to introduce today's chief guest and webinar objectives.
Good morning, all. Gender sensitization is the modification of behaviors so that there is greater awareness and empathy to create gender equality. A woman is the backbone of any society on this planet. She plays the role of mother, sister, wife, and so on. She is an important member of our society, but with inferior social status. It is because of the age-old gender stereotypes and patriarchal mindset of the Indian society. She has been a victim of domestic violence and abuses at the workplace. Though this mindset is changing with urbanization and education, still there is a long way to go for a permanent change. The government of India has already enacted a number of legislations to prevent exploitation and harassment of women and to address the issue of discrimination and gender disparity. The government of India is implementing various schemes, programs such as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao to overcome gender disparity. And to provide equal status to women in the country. With the same intention, we have organized today's webinar. And the objectives of today's webinar are to discuss the cultural creolization and hybridized social space that put forth the new prospectus and challenges in the theorization of gender sensitization, the impact of ultra-fast media, teaching and learning of Western social movements, the constructive tendency of contemporary philosophy and vibrant social change which have constituted a new gender identity which requires a new theorization in consideration with present situation. I hope the webinar will provide a chance to the academic fraternity to understand the new socio-cultural entities that will define new gender roles and will challenge the male superiority complex. The webinar is also a tribute to the great women personalities like Rani Lakshmi Bai, Krantivirangana, Vijayakaku, who have played a role in freedom. It also acknowledges the work of all freedom fighters, scientists, artists, players, and so on. Beside it, I want to highlight the work of today's chief guest for inauguration ceremony. This is Dhanashri Sharad Lad. She carries the legacy of late Krantiagrani Dr. G.D. Popular. She has been actively involved in empowerment of women from rural part of our area. She is the president of Krantivirangana, Vicharmanch Kundal. Through this platform, she has organized a numerous awareness programs for women. She is also the founder chairperson of Meraki Private Limited. This firm tries to give international platform to encourage. It produces near about 150 handmade products. The firm provides seed money to the poor women for such products. It also helps them to improve their work skills. So I welcome such socially conscious person and request her to inaugurate today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Honorable Dhanashri Sharad Lad Ma'am, President Krantivirangana Vijayakaku Lad Vicharmanch Kundal to deliver her inauguration speech.
Good morning all and happy Teachers Day. At the very outset, I declare that the webinar has been inaugurated digitally. As said earlier, the webinar deals with the issue of gender inequality. This has been a social issue in the most parts of the world for many centuries. Why does society hold such view? If we go in deep, we should ask a question to ourselves. Why has nature created man and woman different? I feel it's a divine plan purposely carried out. If we have to continue our existence, we have to reproduce. Both have different hormones that makes them different. Man provides safety and woman provides progeny. Both are necessary and interdependent. That's why a married woman is called Ardhangini, means the other part of man, and without it, he or she is incomplete. Here is the first proof that they are the two sides of one coin. If we talk about the powers of the both, they are also different. Definitely man is stronger than woman in muscle power. But on the other hand, woman has been gifted with superior intellectual power, and here's the issue begins. How? Those who feel insecure about her powers use her different ways to keep her in their control. It was well-planned conspiracy against woman to make her inferior. They use various traditions and customs to make her inferior. Not all the traditions, some of them is designed to protect her health because she is delicate, but some of them are unjust. It is human beings' nature to suppress other human beings who is superior, and again it proves that they are complementary to each other. I also blame dowry system to look a girl as a burden. In the ancient times, a girl was given cows as andan, means as a gift after her marriage. But with the changing times, cows are replaced with the money, and huge amount demanded as dowry made the girls unwanted addition to the family. This is the main reason of female fetus abortion. This is the wrong doctrine is responsible for the degraded status of women in our society, which again proves that women are inferior to men is only the mindset and not the fact. I further want to say that neither man is superior nor the woman is inferior. If a man earns money for the family, woman does the work giving culture and education to the family. Man earns money and society values only money. So man achieved importance from social point of view. But other feminine things falls in the realms of woman. These things are equally important and we should value them also. Some negative mindset in the society suppressed women and she started to assert identity by asking for equality. But I want to quote here lines by William Golding. He says, I think women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. Whatever you give a woman, she will make greater. If you give her sperm, she will give you a baby. If you give her house, she will give you a home. If you give her groceries, she will make you meal. If you give her smile, she will give her heart. She multiplies whatever is given to her. So if you give her any crap, be ready to receive a shit. So want to say that woman shouldn't suppress her feminine sensibility. Government of India has made legal provisions for women. Now they have equal right in their father's property. This is the historic decision in India. Is now going India is now going in new direction. Surely there will be a new India for women to live happily and prosper. Today we live in 21st century and we dreaming about landing on Mars. And still we debate over who is superior. Man and woman are nature's miracles and we are questioning to nature. That's why there is no answer. If any answer is there, it will be changing the mindset of society. So I think men and women are equal. We should celebrate Women's Day if only the Men's Day is celebrated. I personally believe that every human being on this planet should be treated as human being. That's the most superior way to spread humanity. The woman in every form of in society should be respected because everyone or she has strong role in men's lives. Today, talking about this topic, I feel very precious and lucky that I am a woman whose father always want only girl child. That is me. Then the grandfather who said me on the 10th day of my marriage that do not only sit at home, do whatever you want to do. The husband who always gives me courage and strength to my different skills and gave me the nickname called Karagir. And last but not the least, my brother who always there for me. There is no Meraki Private Limited without him. Now I am curious to know the views of today's reasons regarding this issue. Thanks organizers for inviting me for inaugural function of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I request Dr. B.D. Wagmare sir, Head Department of English, to introduce today's keynote addresser, Dr. Rajashree Barvekar, ma'am.
It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Rajashree Barvekar. She is a well-known scholar of feminism from our university. She is working as an assistant professor at Department of English, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. She is having 19 years of teaching experience. Her education qualification is MA, B.Ed, MPhil, PhD, SET. Her research topic for MPhil was Come Rain, Exploration into the Feminist Consciousness. And she has done PhD on the topic, a study of literary representations of family in some Indian English women novelists in the post-independence period. She has completed a minor research project entitled The Concept of Tradition in F.R. Lewis, T.S. Eliot, Michael Puka, and Anand Kumaraswamy, a comparative study, and a major research project entitled Cultural Practices, the Folklores and Dialects of Gentric Trading Communities and Bolitdars of Kolhapur District, an analytical study. It was sponsored by Indian Council of Social Sciences Research, New Delhi. She is a well-known research guide. Under her guidance, 5 students have completed their PhD degree and 3 have completed MPhil. At the present, 9 students are working under her guidance for MPhil and PhD. She has published 16 research papers in various reputed journals and she has written 21 SIM and textbook units. She has presented 58 research papers at national and international seminars and conferences. Dr. Barvekar is also working on deputy academic and administrative bodies. She is member of Standing Committee, Special Cell, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. She is member of Board of Studies in English, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. She is member of Board of Studies, University of Mumbai, Subcommittee. She is life member of Indian Association for Studies in Contemporary Literature, Allahabad, and life member of Melus India, the Society for Study of Multi-Ethnic Literature of US India chapter. She is life member of Synthesis and International Quarterly of English Literature and Language, and Punyabhumi, a quarterly of Indian English Literature, Bhopal. She has served as a resource person for numerous seminars and workshops. So I welcome such a scholar for this webinar to deliver keynote address, and I thank her for accepting our invitation. I request her to deliver her speech. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have the pleasure to invite Honorable Dr. Rajashree Barvekar, Ma'am, Department of English, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, to deliver her keynote address.
Good morning. Good morning to one and all. At the outset, happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers. Thank you, Dr. Wagmare, for introducing me. Dignitaries and the delegates, authorities and the patrons of the college, speakers of today's webinar, Professor Baby Pushpa Sinha, and another speaker, Dr. Sunita Kulkarni. I'm extremely happy. I'm honored to be the part of national webinar, which is organized by Krantiagrani GD Bapu Lad Mahavidyalaya Kundal. First and the foremost, I thank Dhanashri Lad, President of Krantivirangana Vijayakaku Lad Vicharmanch Kundal, Dr. P.B. Lad, in charge principal of Krantiagrani GD Bapu Lad Mahavidyalaya Kundal, Dr. Wagmare, the head Department of English, Dr. D.D. Khadatkar, coordinator IQAC, and staff of the college for inviting me to deliver keynote address of the seminar on gender sensitization and contemporary discourse. Gender sensitization and contemporary discourse is indeed a very vast and umbrella term that encompasses almost all the human endeavors under its preview. Basically, one could not ignore a gender perspective while interpreting the contemporary discourse, as it is difficult to imagine a discourse with a neutral gender sensitization. Dear friends, really it is a very vast topic, and there is a question in front of me how to touch all the aspects related to gender sensitization. So I delimit my presentation to media as one of the significant discourse. So it can be observed that the biological identity as male or female always prevail by setting aside the social, cultural, and political identity of an individual. In contemporary period, the new schools of critical thinking uh, have also emphasized the gender issues as more important in the interpretation and understanding of the discourses. See, the topic is related to gender sensitization and contemporary discourses. It is very difficult to talk about the different discourses in 30 minutes. So I will just tell you some of the discourses. I will mention, I will take only the names of certain discourses. The three broad stages of feminism, because feminism is also one of the important critical school in understanding gender relationships, gender equity, and also it plays important role in gender sensitization. So three broad stages of feminism: gender reform feminism, gender resistant feminism, and gender revolution feminism. All of you know about Ellen Showalter's three phases about the feminism, and like this, these three stages of feminism are uh, are in fashion. We can say these are the latest terms. Instead of using the first wave feminism, second wave feminism, and third wave feminism. So now these three stages have now surpassed from its mission of liberalism to the deconstructive rejection of the traditional discourses. So it is important to see the role of these new theories, coming of theories in rejecting the traditional discourses. They in common have now tends to support and formulate a new meta narrative that substituted the great narratives that were once interpreted as the markers, makers of socio-cultural identities. Besides, deconstructive mission of postmodern school of critical thought, the other socio-cultural entities have been deconstructing the age-old notions of genders. All of you know about the notion of gender stereotyping. Now, uh, before going to this gender stereotyping, you must know what is gender, and all of you are aware of the definition of gender. I will not give you the definition, but uh, gender is a cultural orientation and sex is a biological orientation. See, there is a sexual division like on the basis of physiology, man is women, and the socio-cultural attributes given both to man and woman has created the gender relations or the term gender. So uh, the traditional stereotypes of the gender behaviors means the girl child and a boy child is given training in the family itself how to behave. So the set of behavioral patterns are important while studying the gender stereotyping. And thus, the traditional stereotypes of gender behaviors and definitions of gender identities are being substituted with new gender stereotypes, or we can say the changing gender stereotypes, which are formulated under the influence of international media, new schools of critical thoughts, as I referred, feminist school, um, and the notion of liberalism, changing ideas of education, and new socio-economic situations. In the traditional notion, when we think about a gender identity, we always consider a monocultural set of characterization. However, in the contemporary period, as the world is emerging as a homogenized socio-cultural identity, which is constituted with the multicultural and transnational set of characterization. This new situation brings new concepts and problems in gender sensitization. Or in other words, we can say this new situation is uh, creating the different strategies or providing the different strategies for gender sensitization. It can be observed that in the contemporary theorization of gender sensitization, in the contemporary period, we find the understanding of the different discourses is based on the the gender relationships. In the contemporary period, it is also observed that there is an urgent demand to understand the several academic institutions that have organized the several academic institutions that have planned to prescribe certain courses in their syllabuses. And nowadays we are arranging the webinars, seminars on the national and international level on this topic. Now today's webinar is also is one of the activity towards the gender sensitization, and it becomes vital and necessary to deal with the new theorization in this context and try to understand different socio-cultural entities that influences the contemporary gender identity, and ultimately these identities are reflected in different spheres of life, like as a literary student, as a teacher of literature, we find these gender constructions reflected in literature, and nowadays it has become one of the emergent area of research. So the age-old Indian ideas and the ideals of Purushottam and Savitri. All of you know about these ideals. All of you know the words like Pativrata and husband is God, are being rejected, and individualism is observed. And this is the result of globalization. This is the result of westernization, and the distinct categories nowadays we will find we are not related only to these notions or the images of women as pativrata and also man as purushottam. We are now beyond these, and we are going towards the different distinct categories like gay, lesbian, and transgender, and they are popularized and also legalized in most of the nations. Excuse me. So friends, there are different gender theories and the terms related to gender sensitization, like gender discrimination, gender equity, gender mainstreaming, gender equity and equality as two different words. So gender stereotyping and gender deconstructing gender stereotyping. So I delimit to the media as one of the important discourse, because the topic of today's seminar is gender sensitization and contemporary discourse. So I delimit it to media as one of the important discourse. So media appears as one of the most vibrant and influential factors that not only brings in multicultural sets of characterization and put forth the hybridized social space, as Mr. Wagmare also mentioned in his speech, that hybridization of the culture is one of the important factor in deciding the gender roles. So, but it has also a capacity to bring in changes in the individual's gender behavior. Media should be treated as a separate discourse that have influenced all other factors of contemporary human life. And I think the other two speakers will also focus on the different aspects of media and different types of media. In the contemporary period, the social media platforms, small screen media, and large screen media have played very significant role in changing the different gender stereotypes. However, despite of liberal thinking and rejection of orthodox stereotypes of gender, it can be seen that the other ways of exploitation, oppression, and suppression came in existence. which are most fatal, which are most dangerous than ever. Ever increasing cases of, we have some examples. There are ever increasing cases of cyberbullying and virtual atrocities against women, and they are creating the problems for the women. So, see the change in the form of operation and suppression with this digital world also. The media has encompassed almost all the spaces of human life. It becomes necessary to address the issues repeatedly. Friends, media has become integral part of human life. And especially in this crucial period of pandemic, it has helped the society a lot. I must appreciate the organizing team for this great academic endeavor of selecting such a topic of great social relevance for this webinar. First of all, we have to accept that media has always been a patriarchal field ever since it started first. Unfortunately, this did not change over the period to a large scale. This applies both in the case of representation and the end product. Now, I am going to discuss representation of women in media and about the problem of representation and the role of media in gender sensitization, that is, in changing the mindset, in helping to lessen gender inequality. Now, what is gender sensitization? Gender sensitization is to create the awareness. In simple words, it is to create, it is a process of creating the awareness about both the genders, not only about the women, but about the men also. So both negative and positive side of media we have to consider. When looking at the news and TV programs in any given period, and after investigating them thoroughly, certain problems have become apparent. Which are these problems? See, media equates women to their bodies. All of you know that women, media equates women to their bodies and exploits them. Content about women is composed of subjects largely concerned with entertainment, stereotyping, and sexuality. Media clearly differentiates between gender roles, but unfortunately, the media often supports the misrepresentation. Media reinforces the biased and problematic perceptions of women in the society. Most commonly, the media portrays women as victims of patriarchy and gender biases. A look at news will reveal the atrocities perpetrated on women. You might have come across different news in the on the news channels in this pandemic period about the domestic violence and women atrocities. Media also has a tendency of portraying and presenting women as objects or commodities and consumables. Hence, their portrayal as Bollywood item girls, women anchors, and presenters of programs are confined to momming shows and light subjects in day-to-day television programs. Now, it is difficult to cover all types of the news or the programs which are telecasted. The news often contains a sexist perspective, derogatory expressions against women, or cliches such as going astray, falling in love, or dirtying the family honor, which sometimes leads to honor killing glorified by the community in question, which is headed by men, means the community, patriarchal community. Thus, both the representation of women in media and media's portrayal of women in news items remain far from ideal. If Indian woman is to achieve an honorable existence, to Indian woman a media plays an important responsibility, and we all will agree to this. Now, it is essential to understand how patterns of representation of women in media are based on the patterns of inequality, dominance, discrimination, and also to explore how media constructs images of femininity, masculinity, and gender relations. The contradictions in an image of gender media today is also interesting to discuss. We are going to discuss how not only women but men too can suffer from the societal standards imposed by gender stereotypes and sexist portrayal in media. After discussing all this, there is a need for us to think about some measures in media for gender equality and representation, and we have already started to see the changes in some of the advertisements and in other media. Media consists, when we say media consists of newspapers, magazines, comics, strips, uh, novels, CDs, and music and videos, to name only a few examples. And in the recent times, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ShareChat, Snapchat, YouTube, Telegram, WhatsApp, and it has become integral part of everybody's life. So, faulty gender representation can negatively influence the general public's perception of different gender roles. In the traditional media, particularly advertisements and the pictures in magazines, we find these pictures carry significant messages about cultural norms and cultural values. And these norms and values of gendered relations are for both men and women. Media representation mostly concerns gender, and representation of gender have tended to perpetuate gender stereotypes. So in the beginning, I told you that a role of the gender stereotyping is very important in the process of gender sensitization. Thus, in the process of stereotyping, media plays an instrumental role. However, with the advent of feminist ideas, now
There are some technical issues. Dr. Barvekar will be soon joining us. Give us some time.
Yes, sir. Please carry on.
Please wait. We are trying to contact Dr. Barvekar.
Sir, kindly carry on the next agenda.
I request all of you to please wait. The keynote addresser is having technical issues. The issue will be resolved within 1 minute. Please wait. Thank you all for this cooperation. The keynote addresser has joined us. Now I request her to continue her speech.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. It is not audible. Be arranged.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
For this technical issue,
We
now
are
I
not
request Dr.
able.
Rajashree Barvekar to turn on her video. Her video is turned off from her end. I request to turn the video. Dr. Barvekar, please turn on
It
video
is
from your
on.
end.
The device. Yeah, it's on. And it is. I can see you.
Sir, kindly carry on the next agenda item.
We are sorry for this technical issue. Unfortunately, we have to cancel this session. Now I request Dr. Didi Khalatkar, sir, to say further things.
Good noon and happy teacher day to all. I'm very happy to introduce the speaker of the first session of the national webinar on gender sensitization and contemporary discourse, Professor Dr. Bapu Pushpa Sinha, Head Department of English, Assam University, Silchar, Assam. She has started her teacher career in 1998 from Sao Chang Government College, Tuesang, Nagaland, and joined as assistant professor at University Department from 2004. In 2014, she was awarded with the Doctor of Philosophy from Assam University for her thesis entitled Colombian Political History.
I have joined.
Study of the selected novels of Gabriel Garcia Marquez. She is also recognized research guide of the university and has successfully guided a good number of the students for their PhD and MPhil degrees. Besides research guidance, she has also published several research papers in national and international journals and contributed chapters in books published by reputed publishers. Her related book, Symphony, is prescribed for the undergraduate courses at the affiliated colleges of Assam University. At the outset, I am very thankful to her for accepting our invitation on short notice and very willingly accepted to deliberate on the given topic. I request ma'am to start the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nice words of encouragement about you. Sir, would you kindly enable the screen so that I can make my PPT? Can you enable the screen sharing, sir? I would like to make PPT. Hello, sir.
Ma'am, the PPT is not with us. We can't share from here.
Okay.
Please share from your end.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, kindly enable screen sharing from your end. That's all. Hello. Hello. Sir, kindly enable screen sharing from your end.
Sir, ma'am, it's enabled, but we can't share your files.
Is it enabled from your end, sir?
Yeah, it's enabled, but we can't share your files. You have to share from your end.
Okay, sir.
Hello. Kill.
So, a very good afternoon to everyone. I'd like to wish a very happy Teachers' Day to whoever is a teacher here amongst the participants and invitees today. At the very Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, sir, fine. So, at the very outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the principal, HOD English, the entire team of IQAC of Krantiagrani, GD, Bapu, Lad, Mahavidyalaya, Kundal, and others for inviting and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts, observations, and reflections on the topic titled Importance of Gender Sensitization During COVID Times. So I would like to start my presentation. And before moving on to my topic of presentation, I would like to give a brief introduction to the term gender sensitization. So gender sensitization can be understood or defined as some sort of awareness about women and their relationship. It is an awareness among the people belonging to different genders to have a feeling of equality and respect for each other. There should be gender sensitization of everyone without discrimination and without distinction on the basis of caste, creed, color, or for that matter, age or say sex. So gender sensitization is important for everyone, especially of young people. And when I say young people, I mean specifically of young children and more so of boys. So gender sensitization is a key word and also the need of the hour. Gender sensitization is a sense of awareness to create gender equality in society. Gender sensitization is a process of bringing about some kind of change in the stereotypical mindset of men and women that believe that men and women are unequal. It becomes very important to sensitize the people about gender issues for an overall development of society. In short, our efforts should be to create a gender neutral society. Now I would like to move on to the next slide of my presentation, and the subtitle of that is Impact of COVID-19 on Women. So we all know that COVID-19 has affected the working of everything all over the world. And in the midst of all these things, women are worst affected by COVID-19 due to the presence of gender inequality among us. Domestic violence is increasing, or rather it has become rampant during the pandemic created by COVID-19, because men are staying at home most of the time and getting bored and frustrated, and therefore they try to release their frustration on women and children. And this is also a fact that women contribute more than 60% to domestic or say household chores. But the irony is that still they are the soft target of domestic violence, sexual abuse, etc. Now I'll move on to the next slide, that is stereotypical image of women in society. So we all know that there are various types of stereotypical image circulating about women in the society. That is, a woman is supposed to be meek, gentle and subdued. She has to do all the cooking. She has to look after her children and family. And also she has to sacrifice all her happiness and freedom. Now I'll move on to the next slide, that is necessity of women empowerment in society. So why it is important to see that women are empowered? So when I say that women should be empowered, what I basically try to say here is that women should have the right to say yes or no. They should be a part of decision making. They should have a voice of their own. And they should not be simply left out, or they should not be debarred from giving their opinion. So both men and women should be gender sensitized. And we all know that gender sensitization is a slow and gradual process. And it is also a continuous activity. And when I say so, in my opinion, I think that boys should play an important role in gender sensitization. And why I say so, the reason is that if a boy comes and addresses a group wherein he talks about the importance of gender sensitization, it will be more effective, especially for boys, because boys will be coming to know of the need and importance of gender sensitization from the horse's mouth, that is, from boys. Now I will talk about gender sensitization through education, how education can play an important role in bringing about an awareness as far as gender sensitization is concerned. So we all know that that education is an important instrument in bringing about any kind of change in society. Educational space helps in inculcating and shaping our views about life and society. So in my opinion, gender sensitization is an important aspect to be introduced in schools, colleges and universities curriculum that may help the students to realize the sensitive needs of people belonging to a particular gender. It may help them in shaping their perspectives towards life, and it may go a long way in minimizing domestic violence, sexual harassment at home and at workplace. And in that situation, people can freely walk in public sphere without any kind of inhibition, irrespective of his her gender. Gender inequality in society. So we all know that we face gender inequality in our society day in and day out. So this has been an old problem existing in our society. Am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am. You are audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
You are audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So gender inequality has been an old problem existing in our society, and this has been responsible for female discrimination in many ways, even though women have equal rights theoretically. But when it comes to practice, we see that the same things are not executed in practical life. Hence, it becomes imperative on our part to sensitize people about gender issues to minimize and eliminate any kind of discrimination and exploitation in the name of I'll move on to the next slide, that is co-educational system of schools, colleges and universities. So what I feel based on my teaching experience in college as well as in the university, I have come to one understanding, that is co-educational system of schools, colleges and such other educational institutes can play a crucial role in bringing about respect towards the people of both gender. It is in these places that both boys and girls or men and women should learn to understand and respect each other. Here, the teachers should play a continuous role in eliminating gender disparity and foster a sense of gender equality by sensitizing them towards respecting people of different gender. Gender sensitization should be a part of school compulsorily. And why I say that gender sensitization should be a part of school, because we all feel and we all say that it is better to train young minds. So when we start the process of sensitizing students right from their early age, young age, so by the time they reach college or university, they will be sensitized to some extent. But if the gender sensitization does not start in school and all of a sudden we start talking about gender sensitization when they enter the college or university, it will become a Herculean task. It will be very difficult to change their mindset, because we all say and we all often believe that old habits die hard. Now I'll move on to my next slide. That is ways of spreading gender sensitization among people. So there can be various ways of spreading this awareness of gender sensitization amongst people. So one way could be regular webinars. So we should be having regular webinars, workshops, training programs to spread awareness amongst girls of their rights, merits and roles in the family and society. And we should also try to create an awareness about gender equality with regard to justice and women rights. And another way could be conducting some training programs in remote areas, especially in rural areas, because in rural areas people hardly get to know about different kinds, hardly get to know how girls and boys should be treated equally, because they are still stuck with the age-old traditions and customs. And another way of spreading this awareness about gender sensitization could be by making women economically independent, educated, and outspoken. So women should come to the forefront. They should be encouraged to speak out. They should not always be made to feel subdued. They should be encouraged and they should be allowed to air their views. The next way could be, say, we should try to control and tackle violence based on gender. And here we can say that media can portray the pros and cons of the violence inflicted on women and make people aware of the consequences faced by those who are involved in domestic violence. So here media should play sensationalize, or media should not only try to melodramatize the scene, like how a woman is molested, and how a fear psychosis is created in the mind of the readers. On the other hand, media should also focus, like how men are punished, or how men could be brutally, how men could be legally punished, so that it creates some kind of gender, it creates some kind of fear psychosis in the minds of people who would be thinking of committing such a heinous crime. So they will be alerted, they will think twice before trying to molest any girl or any woman for that matter. So in that sense, I feel that media can go a long way in portraying, in playing its important role as far as sexual harassment or as well as domestic violence is concerned. And also administration should play an important role, and people should be made aware of gender sensitization. Now I'll move on to the next aspect of my slide. So the next slide is positive impact of COVID-19 on gender sensitization. So this pandemic situation created by COVID-19 has given us enough time and scope to think, introspect, and retrospect our views about society, life, and world. One such thing could be to give a try to bring about a radical change in our attitude or outlook towards different genders existing in our society. And my presumption is that this pandemic is not going to leave us soon. It might continue for a longer period of time. So why not make the best use of this time and situation? In my opinion, this is the best time for all of us to instill a sense of respect towards all people belonging to different genders living in society, as all the members of the family, like it or not, are forced to live together. And once we are successful in inculcating the sense of respect towards all genders living around us, we will, I believe, be creating a better place for us to live in peace and harmony, bringing about a feeling of goodwill in society amongst our fellow beings. And this could minimize the amount of domestic violence, sexual harassment, and ill feeling in the name of gender disparity and gender discrimination. And under such circumstances, every individual would feel wanted and respected. We would also learn to accept and respect the differences with regard to different genders. People would not be staring at another person with gender differences as if he or she were a curious and strange person. Now I'll move on to the next slide, that is patience or tolerance, an important aspect of gender sensitization. So what I feel is patience is the in thing in today's world. To say the least, we have zero tolerance power, leading us to have a fractured or broken relation, failed marriages, and communication gap. And we know that gender sensitization is a slow, long, and continuous process. So until and unless we are patient, we cannot imbibe a sense of gender sensitization among people. Both the groups of people, that is, the people who would be carrying the task of gender sensitization, and also the people who would be gender sensitized, have to be patient and sensitive. They have to be open to ideas. And only then we can be sensitive to the needs and demands of the people belonging to different gender. So the point that I'm trying to drive home in this slide is that we should have tremendous power to think, to be patient, and we all know that patience is a virtue. So until and unless we are patient, we cannot be successful in creating this awareness called gender sensitization. And when I say we need to be patient, what I'm trying to tell here is that both the parties have to be patient. It's not that the people who are entrusted with this task of carrying out gender sensitization have to be patient. Even the party, even the people who are at the receiving end, they need to be patient. They need to be open to ideas, and then only we can be successful in our mission. Now, as far as my reaction to the theme of today's presentation is concerned, I would like to share my opinion, and that is, in my opinion, what I feel is it would be always better to listen from people who have or it is better to listen from other folk. And when I say other folk here, I mean men folk. So it will be better and interesting to listen from men folk on this theme called gender sensitization, because how they look at the whole thing is very important. And then we would have a complete or balanced view about what we call gender sensitization. Because ultimately, or say finally, what they think about the whole exercise called, be it gender sensitization, or be it sexual violence, or be it women empowerment, ultimately what they feel about the whole thing is always very important, because the society we live in does not only consist of women. So it's not important that only women should go on talking about gender sensitization, or only they should keep on talking about, or they should keep on harping about the same thing again and again. So it is always very interesting, or it would be interesting to know what men think about the whole exercise. And in my opinion, ultimately what they think, or what men think about gender sensitization or women empowerment, would be very, very genuine and authentic. Otherwise, the impression that others might end up getting about this whole intellectual exercise is that we women are fixed in our opinion, and we women are biased, and we have taken it for granted that men will not listen to our views, comments, and opinions as far as gender sensitization is concerned, or as far as women empowerment is concerned. So we might be construed, or we might be taken in a negative or wrong way by men. So my only submission before this August body is that whenever we talk about gender sensitization, or whenever we talk about a theme, say, called women empowerment, we should be listening to the views and opinions of men as well. Because we are often gazed, and we are often construed by male gaze. We are often construed, our movement is very often looked at by male gaze. So men are most of the time trying to keep an eye on the movement of women. So it is important that we know, it is important that we listen to what is their take on this intellectual exercise called, say, gender sensitization, or women empowerment, or say sexual harassment. So am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
You are very much audible.
Okay,
Please
fine.
continue.
So this is my observation, and this is my observation as far as today's theme of presentation is concerned, because as I just said, that the society we live in constitute of people from both the sections of society, that is men and women. And why only men and women should be talked about when we talk about gender sensitization? Even third gender, even transgender people should be included. In my opinion, even they should be included when we talk about such a sensitive topic called gender sensitization. So gender sensitization is, according to me, sensitize. So sensitize. So when we talk of this term gender sensitization, what I feel is we are trying to sensitize the mentality of people. We are trying to bring about some kind of change in the mindset of the people, and this mindset is not the resultant of just 1 or 2 years. The mindset that I'm talking of, this mindset refers to this mindset is the result of an age-old tradition. So it will take a very, very long time in order to sensitize the people's mind as far as gender sensitization is concerned, because what we try to basically do in this intellectual exercise called gender sensitization is that we try to condition the mindset of the people. We try to condition, or we try to modify the mindset of people, because traditionally speaking, as far as women is concerned, however learned, however intellectual, however big shot she might be, but her place traditionally belongs to kitchen. So this is the age-old conception of men towards women. So it will take a long time for all of us to come out of this sort of a mindset as far as women is concerned. So, and especially in today's world, our children grow up seeing maid servants working in the kitchen. So what perception we are trying to create in the minds of our children? So in my opinion, the perception that we are trying to create in our children is that the maid servant can be only a girl or only a woman. So again, we are trying to imbibe this sense in our children that women can cook in the kitchen. Only women can cook in the kitchen. So women's place is basically in the kitchen. So how do we come out of this age-old mindset that is created or that is ingrained in us right from our childhood? So the best thing would be cooking should be taught to both boys and girls, because in today's world, cooking has almost become a life skill. I will give you an example from our daily life. Now we are going through difficult times. Pandemic pandemic has confined all of us to our respective homes. So imagine the situation wherein a man or a boy is left to himself and his domestic maid had stopped coming, or he might have stopped her from coming because of this pandemic situation. So imagine the maid servant had stopped coming, the restaurants have stopped catering to the needs and demands of the consumers, but the boy or the that particular boy or man has to live, has to survive. And how will he survive? By eating. He has to eat. And how will he eat? Because all these years, all these days, he had been depending upon his maid servant, and maid servant had stopped coming. So if he does not know how to cook, how will he survive? So in my opinion, in today's world, knowing the household chores, knowing how to cook is also a life skill, which boys and girls should know right from their childhood. So the best thing to bring about this gender sensitization, or the best thing to create this awareness of gender sensitization, is that children should, right from their young age, see both parents working in the kitchen. That is, father and mother should work in the kitchen. They should participate, they should share in the household chores. And these children will grow up with this perception that kitchen is not meant only for the mother. Kitchen is not meant only for the girl child. So this could be one way, and this could be an important way of trying to inculcate a sense of gender sensitization in the minds of young children. And I also, in course of my presentation, I also talked about the stereotypical image of women. Like I said, that they should be doing all the household chores, they should be cooking, they should be sacrificing all her happiness and freedom. So what I mean to say here is that why only women should sacrifice all her happiness and freedom? Why should only women do all the cooking? Why should only women look after the children? Children are the responsibility of both the parents. And children come into the world with the mutual consent of both the parents. So why not both the parents, why not father and mother, both of them engage themselves in the household chores? And that way, both the parents will be contributing to the happiness and freedom of the family. And when we talk about women empowerment, yes, women should be empowered. Women should be given the right to say yes or no. She should be given the right to have her sense of judgment. But then, practically speaking, everything is fine as far as theoretical consensus is concerned, but when it comes to practice, when it comes to practical life, things become difficult, things become different. Things become different. So the father or the husband or the other male members of the family should encourage their partner, should encourage their sister, be it their sister, be it their wife, or be it their daughters. They should encourage them to have their strong say in the matter. They should be encouraged to speak out. They should be encouraged to say what is right and what is wrong as far as the family matters are concerned. And then I would also like to bring about subtle differences or subtle difference between these two terms, that is gender sensitization and feminism. Very often we feel, am I audible, sirs and madams? Am I audible?
Very much audible.
Yes,
Very much
ma'am, you are
audible.
audible.
Okay, fine. So very often we feel that so very often we feel that feminism and gender sensitization, these two concepts are same, or these two concepts overlap. But in my observation, gender sensitization is an awareness. Gender sensitization is an awareness. It is to do with the mindset. It is to do with the conditioning of the mindset, perspectives of the people, whereas feminism has to do with ideology. So gender sensitization is to do with the mindset of the people. It is some sort of awareness, whereas feminism is to do with ideology. So in this way, I feel that these two terms, gender sensitization and feminism, are poles apart, or they are different. So in conclusion, what I would like to tell the august body is that however hard we might talk about gender sensitization on public or say academic platform, but unless we initiate the process, I don't think we will be successful in bringing about gender sensitization in our society. So we all, as conscious, as educated individuals, should try to contribute our bit to the society. And before we move on to the society, the whole thing, the whole exercise of gender sensitization should begin from one's home. So home is the best place for people to imbibe certain values. So why not make the first move of bringing about gender sensitization from our respective homes? So it is in our respective home that we can talk about gender sensitization in the presence of our family members, including our young children. And we should try to we should not simply try to preach them, we should try to teach them through our actions. That is, sense of participation is very important. So when I wake up in the morning, it's not that only me should be doing all the works alone. So even my children, including boys, they should also try to come and help me in the kitchen. So this is what I should be trying to inculcate. This is what I should be trying to harp on the minds of young children. So slowly, these small children that I'm talking about, they will grow up. They will enter the college, they will enter the university, and slowly they will be a part of the system, they will be part of the society. So how they look at the thing and the way they will be moving forward with the values that were inculcated in them right from their home, will ultimately go a long way in bringing about some kind of change in the mindset, in the perspectives, in the fixed notions of the members of this society. So, with these few words, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your enlightening speech. Now I request Dr. Barvekar, ma'am, to continue her presentation.
Ma'am, please continue.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Please continue.
Yeah. Sorry for the internet problem and the interruption in my speech, but I would like to continue with the point, and that was, I think, media representation, and which mostly concerns with the gender and these media's role in perpetuating the gender stereotypes. Thus, in the process of gender stereotyping, media plays an instrumental role that we were discussing, I think. So, however, just now Professor Pushpa talked about the feminist theories, and her opinion is that feminism is an ideology, and gender stereotype is gender sensitization is different. But I personally feel that with the advent of feminist ideas and influences, the representation and stereotyping of both men and women is being questioned, as also in the increasing eroticization of not only the female body but the male body also. So these critical school of thinking also plays important role in changing the mindset, because we are talking about the gender sensitization, that is the creating the awareness about the male gender, male role, male sex, and the female sex. Now it is time for us now to undertake the study of media, gender, and gender portrayal. So, as we all know, media is a powerful medium for the representing socially accepted ways of life that we call as stereotyping, and the audiovisual medium, uh, from my point of view, is more appealing to the senses. So, as human beings love imitation, art often imitates life and human behavioral patterns. Thus, media influences individuals as people spend more time consuming media, especially in this period of lockdown due to pandemic. People are more dependent on social media, and we all are experiencing it. An important factor regarding media is that it shows life from the point of view of expected gendered behavioral patterns. And media also provides a way for us to escape the harsh realities of life by providing a fascinating fictional world of wish fulfillment sometimes. Thus, media presents to us romantic and love stories also. Sometimes advice, tips for a successful marital life, tips on how to become good housewives, how to please their husbands, reality shows presenting music, dance, matchmaking, relationships, everything that media, particularly television serials and Bollywood movies, present on screen is exaggerated largely than life, often idolized and idealized in the favor of patriarchy and male expectations. Thus, media performs dual function of reinforcing unequal gender representation and stereotypes, as well as creating sugar-coated, and pseudo-reality of the society sometimes. So at this juncture, it is suitable to explore feminist ideology, and feminist theories have critiqued media representation and also investigate how female audience consume media. Due to constraint of time and due to interruption, I will not explore in detail the feminist contribution here. So media also overemphasize on the strength of men and strength of men and beauty of women. See, strength of men and beauty of women. How media is influenced by the ideologies of feminist ideology is interesting to know. Feminists analyze structures of power that influence the devaluation of women in media. They see media as central to the discrimination against women, or it is one of the important site of discrimination, site SIT. I will now refer one or two feminists in order to understand the contribution of feminist theory in changing gender relations in the society and ultimately its reflection in media. All of you know about Betty Friedan. In her book Feminine Mystic, she has argued that femininity has associated with the concepts of maternity and housekeeping. Betty Friedan also underlies the overlap of media representation with social relations between sexes. It produces the paradigm of masculinity superiority over women. Another feminist, Naomi Wolf, in her book in the year 1991, the book is The Beauty Myth, argued that the images of ultra thin supermodels and the perfect bodies glamorized by advertising, fashion, and media in general are indications of a patriarchal attack on women's bodies. Another feminist, Laura Mulvey, conceived the term male gaze. And just now you have heard in the presentation of Professor Pushpa about the male gaze to emphasize the extent to which so much of our media output assumes that the spectator is male, or male constructs the reality, or the reality is constructed from the male point of view from a set of largely masculine assumptions. Another feminist, Gaye Checkman, referred to as the symbolic annihilation of women in media to express the effects of misrepresentation of women and girls in mass media. So arguments, these feminist arguments have certainly helped to point out how women are objectified and presented, and also helped to change, rethink women's representation. Let us see representation of gender in media in detail. When we say representation, it has two meanings. It implies two meanings: portrayal and imagining of gender representation, that is how men and women are represented in media, and meaning attached to their images shown in media. Representation of men and women in media, another meaning pertaining to the pivotal roles and in the screen time they enjoy. The screen time, the male characters and the female characters enjoy. In majority of mainstream Bollywood movies, the male protagonist is hero, and the central figure occupies most of the screen time, with the female characters playing either in love interest or relegated to an item number. Now, let us look at, I am giving you the points. Let us look at the way in which media represents gender. Women are underrepresented, which falsely implies that men are the cultural standard and women are unimportant or invisible. Men and women are portrayed in stereotypical ways that reflect and sustain socially accepted manners and endorse the views of gender or gender relationships. Depiction of relationship between men and women emphasize traditional gender role and normalize the subservience of women and violence and injustice meted out of them. So representation of women across all the media tends to highlight certain common features like standards of beauty and fairness within narrow traditional conventions. Actually, I had planned to show you some advertisements, but I have cancelled due to this interruption. So if you look at the advertisement of Fair and Lovely, then you know about female beauty measurements. For example, advertisements about skin clip, cosmetic surgeries, and procedures such as enhancement of bust, liposuction, body sculpting, skin and hair treatments, and many more. So there are number of examples. Commodization of female sexuality. This is also the common feature. Then emotional temperaments as opposed to intellectuals. Then development of the relationship with man as opposed to social and financial independence. However, the time is changing with the spreading of feminist ideology and women occupying power positions in every field or in every walk of human life. The scenario is changing, and we find the shift in media images of men also. In advertisements, men are often portrayed in particular ways. They are shown as alert, they are shown as standing upright, eyes open, looking around, adventurous. Um, their bodies are controlled. They are very serious. They only are able to think rationally, and women are irrational. So they are shown as brave and physically active. Some of the media images supporting these behaviors include the strong, silent uh, Marlboro man and military ads telling young men to all you can be in these images of man. Also, we find the changes over the time, such as what kind of change we find, such as in 1970s and 80s, macho man, for example, James Bond and television programs like Magnum and Star. In 1990, metrosexual young men with a high disposable income living in the city, like female body objectified. Then in 2000 onward, image of masculinity showing are shown being in touch with their feminine side and showing emotions. Uh, there are lots of points regarding the changes in the shift of media, but I will skip these things. And there are different stereotypes of men, like the action hero portrayed as strong, aggressive, and violent. The Big Shot represents the epitome of success, shown as having all desirable qualities, economically well off and socially successful. There are certain gender stereotypes in commercial advertisements also. But I will skip these advertisements also. Then all these things have the negative consequences on women. Largely, women's bodies and sexuality have become commodities, and the consequences of these are mental and physical illness, starvation, diets, and eating disorders. All of you know about the slim body, the body measurements, and the women are taking a particular diet. So they are negatively also influencing the women body. So women's self objectivity in terms of body surveillance by adopting a form of self consciousness in which they habitually monitor their own body's outward appearance and spend significant amounts of attention on how others may perceive their physical appearance. Okay. Now, there are certain positive shifts also. Today, men and women are portrayed as working side by side in such settings as hospitals, schools, police stations, even in the military. So, in the cinema, roles for women have developed away from the victim roles of the past. Uh, there are certain advertisements. You might have watched washing powder Nirma's advertisement. Female role restricted to washing and maintaining, or nurturing, or caring, and cleanliness. Uh, Means these are the domestic duties women supposed to do. So showing in that advertisements, the four women pull out the ambulance stuck in a ditch. So these type of changes we can find in the advertisements. The advertisements are also trying to break the gender stereotypes. So in the present era of globalization, India has emerged as one of the biggest market in the world. The products and the services from the remote corners of the world are interested in increasing their sales in this trillion-dollar market. In order to rear the public, these companies use propaganda, the advertisement, and as a result, the television channels, irrespective of news or entertainment channels, are full of innovative and creative advertisements. And there we find the changing uh, gender relations. These advertisements not only sell their products in the market, but at the same time, they also boost the cultural processes, which is very important in gender sensitization as well as gender stereotyping. So these processes are like cultural acculturation and assimilation. So these advertisements have influenced Indian population and persuaded them to buy these products. It can be said that a social change cannot happen in overnight. But in a traditional country like India, it takes a lot of time. There are very few advertisements that raise questions against these biases and try to enlighten the masses. The advertisements we have discussed earlier have tried to show the changing role of the advertisement of Nirma, for example. So media has dual status to reinforce unequal status as well as to circulate new ideas, and that will lead to the change. So in nutshell, we have discussed how the changing gender roles and strategies of gender sensitization will certainly lead to women empowerment. We all need to work together. We all join hands and move towards gender equality and start discussing gender issues with family, with colleagues, with friends, students, and social groups for achieving the ultimate goal of gender equality. For this, there is urgent need to diminish orthodox beliefs and to provide safeguard for women's safety. For achieving the goal of gender equality, we must eliminate the biased behavior and changing stereotyping, creating culture. Remember what I am trying to say, that the culture which creates the gender stereotypes, that we have to change as regards to uh, role of women, and that will lead to gender equality and women empowerment. I have not talked about WID, that is Women and Development, WAD, Women and Development, and GAD, that is Gender and Development. So these are some of the recent terms related to gender sensitization. So it is not possible to encompass all these things. But if we organize such seminars and workshop on the gender sensitization, it will certainly be fruitful for the gender sensitization. So I once again congratulate the organizer for conducting a webinar on such a contemporary topic and creating a platform for discussion. I hope more such activities will take place for gender sensitization, and I sincerely apologize for the technical interruption in my session. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Let me introduce today's second session resource person, Dr. Sunita Kulkarni, ma'am. Dr. Sunita Kulkarni is working as Associate Professor, Department of English, SNDT Universities in LJNJ Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Vile-Parle, Mumbai. Her educational qualification is MA, NET, MPhil, PhD. She has 28 years experience of teaching. Her specialization in popular literature. She has done one minor research project. Now, she has written safe learning material for distance education, Department of SNDT University. She has co-authored an article on elements of magic and phantasmagoria in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter in Asian Quarterly and International Journal of Contemporary Issues, Volume 2. She has organized a state-level seminar on feminism, reading of short stories, bilingualism, dance forms. She has published 13 national and 9 international level papers in academic conference, seminar, workshop. She attended 2 orientation and 3 refresher courses as well as 1 short-term course. She was member of Mahila Suraksha Samiti, Vile-Parle Police Station since September 2008 till 2012. Dr. Kulkarni ma'am honored and felicitated for excellent work in positive college activities by High Tech Family Enrichment Foundation. Her contribution in evaluation of university papers, paper setter, worked in the capacity of a presiding officer for the parliament as well as assembly elections. She is a member of Board of Studies, judge for the elocution competition, invited resource person. She is also coordinator of the NAC steering committee for the 3rd accreditation cycle of her college, as well as she was working as a reviewer and content writer for e-lessons since 2018. So I request Dr. Sunita Kulkarni ma'am to start her presentation.
Thank you for such an introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Teachers' Day. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to address this August gathering. I thank Dr. Lad, Principal, Krantiagrani G.D. Bapu Lad Mahavidyalaya, Kundal, Mrs. Dhanashri Sharad Lad, President, Krantivirangana Vijayakaku Lad Vicharmanch, Dr. Vagmare, Head, Department of English, Dr. Khaladkar, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Barvekar, Dr. Sinha, and all the participants. I have been told to speak on gender sensitization in media by the organizers, but as media is such a vast term, I will delimit my discussion to mainstream commercial Hindustani cinema, also known as Bollywood. Cinema has entered our homes now via satellite television, cable networks, as well as the new OTT over-the-top platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, Z5, Hotstar, which bypass any mediary service providers and directly provide service via the internet to any Android device. Cinema is a major form of public entertainment and public discourse, as through its plot, characterization, imagery, subject matter, dialogue, and photography, it creates a definite text or discourse which can be analyzed. India's love affair with cinema began in 1896 when the Lumiere brothers showed 6 short films in Bombay's Watson Hotel. Inspired by that, Dada Saheb Phalke made the first Indian film Raja Harishchandra in 1913, which was a silent film. Dada Saheb Phalke was not able to get a woman actor to play the role of Queen Taramati. So, in the end, it was played by a young man. Later, in his Bhasmasur Mohini, he was able to get the mother-daughter duo of Durgabai Kamat and Kamlabai Gokhale, who are the first female actors on Indian screen. After Alam Ara, the first Indian talkie was released, several educated modern women from affluent families entered the acting profession, some of whom are Zubeda Begum, Shobhana Samarth, Devika Rani, and Durga Khote. Initially, in terms of role strength, screen time, and remuneration, as well as status, the female actors were given a status on par with the male. However, gradually, patriarchy took over the cinema too, and men started dominating the screen. The hero became a larger-than-life macho Superman, while women characters became secondary and were reduced either to the hero's love interest or to secondary roles and stereotypes. The age of the Indian superstar was born. We have figures such as Dilip Kumar, Rajesh Khanna, Dev Anand, Amitabh Bachchan, and now we have the Kapurs and the Khans. In those days, the heroine or the female protagonist was supposed to be a submissive, virginal, demure damsel in distress, dressed in traditional Indian costume, who was rescued by the hero. Women characters were cliched and stereotypical. For example, sacrificing mother, sacrificing sister, the ideal wife, the sanskari bahu or beti, the patient, long-suffering wife, or the vamp, who was a sexually liberated, westernized woman who drank, smoked, wore skimpy clothes, and danced the cabaret. She was either Ruby, Monica, or Mona Darling, beautifully portrayed on screen by Helen, Bindu, or Aruna Irani. In spite of talented female actors such as Suchitra Sen, Madhubala, Meena Kumari, Nargis, and Geeta Bali, films became more and more male-dominated. Today, apart from some exceptions, the heroine or the female protagonist is a scantily clad, beautiful woman, young of course, playing the hero's love interest as well as often presenting the item number, which is often raunchy lyric with sexual innuendos, double meaning, and suggestive dancing. I'll now present a video clip to you. Please give me a moment.
Ma'am, please share with computer sound, screen sound.
Is it audible?
No,
No, not. It's not audible. Please share sound also.
Ma'am, it is part audible, not
Please
audible.
share sound of computer also.
Is it audible?
No, no, it's not audible.
Is it audible?
No,
the
madam.
video clip is not audible.
No, it's not audible. Please share.
And your sound
I'll
is
try again.
audible, but
I'll try again.
video
I'll try again.
is not audible.
Please share computer sound also.
I'll try again. There are some.
Okay, okay.
Just give me a moment. I don't think.
हम ट्रेंड बदल देंगे। सिर्फ जो करती थी वो हम हीरोइन से करवाएंगे। पब्लिक सामान देखती है, दुकान नहीं। Yes. This is sexualization and objectification of the female body for commercial purposes. So why does this happen? This happens because of one reason, which is patriarchy. Most Bollywood directors, actors, camera persons, financiers, producers, script writers, and costume designers are men. Thus, the film industry is completely patriarchal. The audience too is largely male dominated. Thus, the film presents female characters that are the male notions of ideal feminine behavior, what the men would like to see. As cinema is an industry completely based on the box office profits, filmmakers create what the audience wants to see. As a result, the screen is flooded by young, beautiful women dancing to attract men's attention. It would be appropriate here to explore how mainstream cinema treats its women. As we have seen now in the clip, even the female lead or heroine in most Bollywood movies has become merely a beautiful body wearing designer clothes which are skimpy, and their acting brief is mainly to become the recipient of the collective male gaze. I'll come to the male gaze later on again. The collective male gaze, that of the male lead, the camera, the male audience, and to gyrate to song sequences with the camera focused on their heaving bosoms and and thrusting pelvises. Under the guise of art, showmanship, and beauty, several big banner male directors have successfully titillated the male audience by presenting them with beautiful female bodies in provocative attire, such as transparent white saris worn in torrential rain or under waterfalls with strategically placed cameras aimed at certain parts of the female anatomy. This kind of portrayal is not the fault of the male movie makers and the audience alone, as the female actors who consent to it, thinking deceptively that they're being professional and exhibiting their bodies solely due to the demand of the script, are equally responsible for the phenomenon. These female actors and models who prosper monetarily and professionally by such gimmicks either do not seem to realize or turn a convenient blind eye to the fact that though they consider themselves to be modern, liberated, and savvy women of the world, their antics on and off the reel leads to the common real women like us, being judged and categorized in a pejorative manner. Unfortunately, the male audience ogling the gyrating glamorous stars such as Munni, Chameli, Sheila, and Jalebi superimpose their on-screen behavior onto real-life women and very conveniently assume that by dressing in modern clothes and venturing out of their homes, these women are inviting male attention. Very unfortunate. At this juncture, let us have a brief look at some concepts put forth by feminist film theory, which arose in the 1960s and attempted to analyze the representation of women, their role strengths, and the common stereotypes used in films. It also studied the process of cinematic production and how it affected the perpetuating of gender stereotypes. Film theory also explored the representation of minority communities and gay and lesbian people on screen. And in recent times, it has expanded to television and digital media. In 1973, Laura Mulvey, in her Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, put forward the idea of the male gaze. Now, both the speakers before me have referred to the male gaze, which arises out of scopophilia. Scopophilia is a term which means pleasure from looking. She discusses three types of gazes of looking at women. The first is the male hero's perspective of the woman. The second is the male spectator's perspective of the woman. And the third, a mixture of the two, is where the male spectator appropriates the role of the male hero and his perspective and considers the female characters on screen as his own sex object. Over the years, several directors have decided to break the stereotypes and have made female-oriented movies. Now, there's a long list. I'll just read out some of them. It started with Mother India, Lajja, Mirch Masala, Firewater, Chandni Bar, Astitva, The Dirty Picture, which was a landmark, Gulab Gang, Zubeda, based on the life of the actor Zubeda, No One Killed Jessica, Bandit Queen, Kahani, English Finglish, Razi, Stree, Pink, Angry Indian Goddesses, Masan, Mardani, and several others. I now wish to discuss some movies which are female oriented and present a step forward in the empowerment of female characters on screen. The first movie I wish to discuss is Thappad, released in 2020, directed by Anubhav Sushila Sinha. The movie presents Amrita, who is good looking, educated. She's a classical danseuse, but she has willingly given up her career ambitions in order to become the best housewife for Vikram, her husband, who is Vikram, whom she loves. She looks after him, the household, the cooking and cleaning. She looks after his diabetic mother, and she epitomizes the ideal wife stereotype. However, that is not enough for Vikram, her husband. Vikram, a highly competitive, career-oriented, ambitious man, is angry and frustrated at the behavior of his superiors at work and slaps Amrita in a party in front of their families and his colleagues. Amrita is shocked, stunned, and finally realizes that she cannot live with him now as he has destroyed her self-respect and he has overstepped the boundaries of their marriage. Her mother, sadly, her mother-in-law, her younger brother, and even her high-profile, successful female lawyer tell her to forget the incident and get on with life, to continue with her marital life. Amrita is strong, resolute, calm. She demands nothing and she wants to separate. She wants a divorce from Vikram. One or two statements said by some characters will give you a glimpse at what she has to go through. People say, it is just one slap. Her mother tells her, "Ab wohi tumhara ghar hai." Here, the film discusses issues of domestic violence, which is rampant in society, and the fact that patriarchy always takes women for granted. This film is a slap, a thappad issued at male entitlement, sexism, and patriarchal practices. I will now read out a quote about this movie. Film critic Shubhra Gupta, who writes film reviews in the Indian Express, says, I quote, "Thappad resonates as it is meant to, because the director shows without mincing any words just how patriarchy is handed down from one generation to the other, and women are equally complicit in it. Women are always being told how to feel, how to keep their feelings under check, how not to give in to them. Women are told, but men, unfortunately, are not told any of these things." I'll try and play another clip to you.
ये लीगल नोटिस है आपको घर वापस ले जाने के लिए। मुझे नहीं जाना है। What's the real story? His family? No. He's having an affair? No. You're having an affair? No. So just one slap then. Just a slap? पर नहीं मार सकता।
प्लीज लेट हो रहा है यार।
टूट के हम दोनों में जो
अरे अमू छोड़ दिया मैंने आज। You should have been there. घर तक के लिए वेट तो कर लो।
मैं स्लीपी हूँ।
मैं तो बिल्कुल स्लीपी नहीं हूँ।
उसको विश्वास नहीं था कि कंपनी चला सकता है, समझा?
यार shit happens, होता है। Move people move on.
तुम एक कंपनी में इतने इमोशनली इन्वेस्टेड थे, यू कुड नॉट मूव ऑन। मैंने तो अपनी पूरी लाइफ इन्वेस्ट करी है तुम्हारे साथ, कैसे मूव ऑन करूं? आई डोंट लव यू।
बस यही सुनना रह गया था, बेटी डाइवोर्स करेगी।
जाने दे बेटा, थोड़ा बर्दाश्त करना सीखना चाहिए औरतों को। हर रिश्ता फ्लॉड होता है, उसे जोड़ के रखना पड़ता है। जोड़ के रखनी पड़े कोई चीज तो मतलब टूटी हुई है ना।
दीदी कल उसने फेर मारी, पर कल है ना, मैंने सोची किसी दिन इसने अंदर तक कुंडी लगा ली तो तू कहाँ जाएगी।
रिश्ते बनाने में उतनी एफर्ट नहीं लगती जितना निभाने में लगती है।
क्या करूं, हो गया ना।
ज्यादा जरूरी सवाल ये है, ऐसा हुआ क्यों?
You should give him a chance. Imagine how embarrassed he already is.
सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान अम्मू का है, इसके ऊपर डिवोर्स का टैग लगेगा। गलत तो नहीं कर रहे ना?
हम तो हमेशा सही सोच के करते हैं बेटा। और कई बार सही करने का रिजल्ट हैप्पी नहीं होता।
When you're truly in love, थोड़ी बहुत मारपीट तो expression of love ही है ना सर? We have eyewitness testimony कि उस रात पार्टी में कोई violent act commit नहीं किया था।
अगली पिटीशन में ये भी लिखवा देना कि मैं शराबी, पागल और मैनिक डिप्रेसिव हूँ क्योंकि अभी इनकम्प्लीट लग रही है। You still want to play fair? उसने मुझे मारा, पहली बार, नहीं मार सकता, बस इतनी सी बात है और मेरी पिटीशन भी इतनी सी है। उस थप्पड़ से क्या हुआ? उस एक थप्पड़ से ना मुझे वो सारी अनफेयर चीजें साफ साफ दिखने लग गई जिसको मैं अनदेखा करके मूव ऑन करती जा रही थी।
All right. The next movie which I wish to discuss is Bulbul, released in am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
All right. Was the film clip audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. The next film which I want to discuss is Bulbul, released in 2020. It is directed by Anvita Dutt and it released on Netflix, the OTT platform. This film is set in 19th century Bengal presidency. Bulbul, a young girl, 5 or 6 years old, is married to Indranil or Thakur Mochai, who is at least 20 to 25 years her senior in age. He has a twin brother who is mentally unstable. His name is Mahendra. And the youngest brother is Satyendra or Satya. Bulbul strikes a friendship with Satya, Indranil's youngest brother, who is closer to her in age. They play together. He tells her stories. And he tells her the story of a chudel. They grow up together and inevitably Bulbul falls in love with Satya. Seeing Bulbul's infatuation with Satya, her husband Indranil Thakur Mochai sends Satya to England to study law. Overcome with jealousy, Indranil beats Bulbul violently, breaking the bones of her legs and feet. While immobile in traction, Bulbul is raped by Indranil's twin Mahendra, who is mentally unstable, and she dies. Now here, the supernatural element enters the story, and we are shown that goddess Kali sends out a blessing to Bulbul, and Bulbul is brought back to life. Soon, a chudel starts stalking the village and killing men. It is actually Bulbul who kills men who are violent towards women, who are violators of women, and pedophiles. The issues discussed in this film are child marriage, pedophilia, domestic violence, rape, enforced widowhood, frail male egos, women competing for a man's attention, male hypocrisy because Indranil has a sexual relationship with Mahendra's wife, but he cannot tolerate his wife having soft feelings for his brother. The other themes are the demonization of women by patriarchy, the subversion of the trope of the folklore chudel, elements of horror, folklore, fantasy, and feminist rebellion. The sad part is that Bulbul actually becomes the chudel from Satya's story. She becomes what he's fascinated by, what he would like,
but he is not interested. The imagery is dominated by red color, the color of Bulbul's blood. I will try and share a clip with you. It's a small clip.
थोड़ा पागल है, पर कहने मिलेंगे, मिलेगी, चुप रहना। थोड़ा पागल है, पर उससे नहीं तो उसके भाई से सब मिलेगा। बड़ी हवेलियों में बड़े राज होते हैं। चुप रह।
All right. The next film that I want to discuss is Queen, released in 2013, directed by Vikas Bahal. It is a coming of age, a film of self-discovery. Rani Mehra is dumped at the altar by her fiancé and longtime boyfriend Vijay, as he now lives and works in London. And she is still a small town girl, unfashionable, countrified, no longer desirable to him. Hurt and heartbroken, Rani decides to go on honeymoon to Paris alone. Her journey to Paris and Amsterdam is also a journey of self-discovery. Vijay has always been a controlling man, refusing to let her work, curbing her enthusiastic dancing, and inhibiting her in each and every way. Now, when she's alone, Rani meets and makes friends with several people, including Vijayalakshmi, a hotel steward, and Roxette, a cabaret dancer. Several men also who like and respect her for what she is. Rani is innocent, naive, and untouched by guile, and people are drawn to her. She realizes that she can be happy even without Vijay. She can make money too. Happiness. The lesson learned from this film is happiness does not depend upon having a man in your life. The films we have discussed so far are female-centric and empowering, as the women discover their own potential. But, and there's a big but, the common factor between them is that there is a traumatic incident which triggers their search for self-discovery and identity. There are some films where women characters accept patriarchal restrictions but find out ways and means by which they can imprint their own identity on society and patriarchy. Lipstick Under My Burqa, a 2016 film directed by Alankrita Srivastava, is one such film. It is a bold, controversial film which was first refused by the censor board, but eventually went on to win several awards. In this film, the burqa is a symbol for patriarchy, for societal prescriptive codes of feminine behavior, age and gender appropriacy, while lipstick is a symbol for women's dreams, desires, and fantasies. It presents the stories of 4 women belonging to different age groups and communities living in Bhopal's Hawai Manzil. Shirin is a smart mother of 3 working as a salesperson without her husband's knowledge. Her husband, a dominating hypocrite, uses her only as an object for fulfilling his sexual desire. He refuses to let her work, refuses to use contraception, and rapes her as punishment. Leela is a young beautician and she has ambitions of establishing her own business. Torn between a traditional fiancé and an untrustworthy boyfriend, life confuses her. Rihanna is a young college student forced to wear a burqa. She loves singing, dancing, wearing nice clothes, but unable to do this, she starts shoplifting for clothes, lipsticks, and shoes. Buaji, also known as Usha Parmar, is the owner of Hawai Manzil. Usha is a 55-year-old woman and sexually deprived. She compensates for this by reading sleazy romance books hidden under her religious books. Her relatives treat her as a free childcare provider and refuse to acknowledge her desires. And society enforces her to conform to age-appropriate behavior. Rosie is the female protagonist of Lipstick Wale Sapne, which Buaji likes to read. She is a liberated woman indulging in her wanton fantasies and the alter ego of Buaji. The issues put forth in this movie are marital rape, repression of women, ageism, and sexism. Some lines from this film are, बीवी हो, Shirin's husband tells her, बीवी हो, शौहर बनने की कोशिश मत करना. बुआजी's relatives say, गंदे कपड़े, अश्लील किताबें, हमारा नहीं तो कम से कम अपनी उम्र का तो लिहाज किया होता. And the film posits a question which is asked by Rihanna, which is, हमारी आजादी से आप लोग इतना डरते क्यों हो? Now, I come to my conclusion. The changing notions of gender and new emerging stereotypes. In yesteryear Bollywood cinema, male protagonists, the heroes, were the central figures of the narrative and they epitomized Indian society's desired qualities of masculine behavior. They were brave, resourceful, assertive, often aggressive, the leaders of their community. They were tall, muscular, hairy, macho men, celebrating their testosterone, aggressive in their love lives too, refusing to take no for an answer, and dominating their women. Some examples are characters from films like Tere Naam, Ranjhana, and Shah Rukh Khan's Anjam. In the past few years, however, this notion of masculinity has gradually changed to charming, courteous, non-aggressive, and non-dominant behavior, with the men following fashion, beauty regimens, and glamour. The fashion, beauty, and glamour were supposed to be the female prerogatives, but these men are following these. The concept of the metrosexual man was coined by Mark Simpson in 1994 and is a combination of metropolitan, it is a portmanteau word, a combination of metropolitan and heterosexual, and refers to men who are suave, well-groomed, and well-dressed in the latest fashion. These men are not afraid to show their sensitive side and have a higher emotional intelligence. Today's heroes, metrosexual men, have sculpted, hairless bodies, which they are not afraid to display for their female fans. Thus, we have Shah Rukh Khan performing an item song Dard Disco in Om Shanti Om. I'll try and play that clip if possible.
लम्हा लम्हा अरमानों की फरमाइश थी, लम्हा लम्हा जुर्रत की आजमाइश थी।
All right. So that was supposed to be a feast for feminine fans of Shah Rukh Khan. So, as well as Shah Rukh Khan's item number, we have John Abraham performing an item number in Wiki Donor. Plus we have Akshay Kumar and John Abraham again performing in, I think, Desi Boys. So the trend has started. Ideally, objectification and sexualization of either the female or male body is undesirable. However, these metrosexual actors at least believe in equality of some sort. So along with this, the item numbers, we also have Ranbir Kapoor dropping his towel in Savariya, his debut film, as well as John Abraham bearing almost all in Dostana. Now it is time that the rhetoric of toxic masculinity of heroes with cliched lines such as "मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता," "ये 2.5 किलो का हाथ," and "प्यार से दे रहे हैं, ले लो, वरना थप्पड़ मार के भी दे सकते हैं." This is totally unacceptable and needs to be rethought along new lines. Just as the notion of masculinity has changed, so has that of femininity. Traditionally, women were supposed and trained to be submissive, gentle, nurturing, mothers or wives, homemakers. But we now have many examples of women characters displaying the supposedly masculine traits. Hema Malini in Sita or Gita, one of the twins is dashing. Tapsi Pannu's Rumi in Man Marziya, Rani Mukherjee's Shivani Roy in Mardani and Mardani 2, Tabu's Meera Deshmukh, Inspector General of Police in Drishyam, and Vidya Balan's Vidya Bakshi in Kahani, and there are many more examples now. So in conclusion, I would wish to say that it is time for us all to rethink the gender binary and polarity, and rather than adhere to the prescriptive and restrictive codes of gender behavior and gender stereotyping, we should be, as individuals, true to our innate qualities and desires. I once again congratulate the organizers for choosing such a relevant and pertinent topic for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your inspiring and informative speech. Now I request to Dr. D.D. Khadkar sir to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. I'm here for vote of thanks. First, I thank to Honorable Arun Anna Lad, President, Gandhi Education Society, Advocate Prakash Lad, Secretary, Gandhi Education Society, Honorable Kiran Lad, Honorable Sharad Lad, and the principal, Dr. Pratap Lad, for their support and encouragement to organize this webinar. I also thank to Mrs. Dhanashri Lad, President Krantiagrani, Vijayakaku Lad, Vicharmanch, Kundal, for her gracious presence and inauguration of the webinar. On behalf of Krantiagrani Bapu Lad Mahavidyalaya Kundal, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Dr. Rajashree Barvekar ma'am for her turns to deliver a keynote address. She has enlightened the gathering by exploring many uncovered and unexplored to the gender sensitization. I am thankful to Professor Baby Pushpa Sinha for her enriched lecture on the topic. She has elucidated that how issue has a contemporary value and it should be revisited frequently to understand the new dynamics of gender sensitization in a new situation. I'm also thankful to Dr. Sunita Kulkarni ma'am for accepting the invitation to work as a resource person and make the session livelier by sharing videos. I'm also thankful to all the delegates who responded overwhelmingly from different corners of the nation and in true sense make the webinar national. I'm also thankful to my colleagues who helped in different capacities to organize the seminar successfully. I'm also thankful to the non-teaching staff who helped on the ground level despite the ever-increasing danger of COVID-19 situation. At the last but not least, I also express my thanks to all who one or another way helped to organize this academic event. I'm also hopeful for your cooperation in future. After the end of the Zoom meeting, please don't forget to fill the feedback form shared to your different social media platforms. The certificate will be made available on the Google Drive and separate link will be shared on the social media platform. With the permission of the president of the program, I declare that the webinar is over. Thanks once again to all.